Welcome to the Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast, starring Q the Boss.
Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast. They call me Q the Boss. One more bomb. I'm excited today, guys, because the storm is officially almost over. For those who've been going through trials, tribulations, second-guessing themselves, dealing with so much turmoil and trauma in their life, you got to realize that the storm is almost over. A lot of people don't understand you got to go through something to learn from something. If you ain't been through nothing, how you know your strength? Sometimes people don't believe my testimony because I don't look like my story. Because one thing I realized that when you get cleaned up in life, you tend to look way better than you ever looked. A lot of people don't look like their struggles. A lot of people don't look like their testimony. So the issue is when you're talking to people, they tend to look at you like, wait, you don't look like what you've been through. I tell my testimonies all the time. I tell my story. For those who don't know, I'm a reformed gangster. A reformed gangster. And I'm proud to say it. Because there's when you learn and accept where you've been, then you can accept where you're going. And a lot of people have no direction to where they're going because they don't know where they've been. Because they won't accept their phase. You got to accept the moments that you're going through something. I don't look like what I've been through. So sometimes you got to understand that the storm that you go through is trials and tribulations for you to enjoy your future. One can't enjoy their future if they're not understanding where their past is. I don't want to forget my past, but I damn sure want to accept my past. Some people are still running from their past, not accepting their past, therefore they can't grow past their past. The storm is almost over. The storm is almost over. Put on your rain jacket. Go through the war. There's nothing wrong with going through trials and tribulations. No one is exempt from going through something. But the one thing that's beautiful about life is once you've been through something, you tend to can help someone else. Without testimony, how can you save anyone? A lot of us look at life that you're the only one going through something, but you don't realize that there are a multitude of people going through the same story you're going through. I remember when I was going through a divorce, I didn't realize how many people was going through the same situation. And they helped me go, they helped me grow. I remember when I was in my storms, I was so afraid of being vulnerable with my truth that I thought I was the only one going through what I was going through. And this is how you create a delusional mentality with yourself. You start making yourself believe that you're the victim to your story, but you don't realize that your story has to have turmoil before you can become something great. Nobody knows how it feels. No one knows what I'm going through. Must be nice. When people look at the moments they come into your life, they tend to believe that this is where you started. But no one reads a book from the end to the front. Let me say that again. No one reads a book from the end to the beginning. In order to understand the book, you have to start at the beginning. There are a lot of people right now trying to read people's stories from the end to the beginning. You got to learn from the beginning to get to the end so you can understand what that person's been through. But there's a lot of people working. But again, the storm is almost over. When you're going through things in life, we create this victim mentality. And this victim mentality is what allows you to stay stagnated. One can't grow when they're not willing to accept their own story. You are the author of your book, but you still having others write your story. Who knows what you've been through more than you? Because again, when the storm is going on, one doesn't understand until we see sunshine. But that's when you understand what the person has been through. Allow yourself to go through your storms. Because there is no paradise without seeing a storm. But the storm is almost over. It's almost over. I used to be fearful of being vulnerable. I'm that big black man that was scared to be a very vulnerable man. When I didn't learn that strength is measured by being vulnerable, I always thought that strength was measured by not being vulnerable. By hiding and hoarding your emotions, that made me feel strong because that's how I was taught. I was taught that emotions are a sign of weakness. But intelligence states that emotions is a sign of strength. But I still believe that my strength was measured by the fact that I can hoard emotions and allow the world to see my vulnerabilities. When a person can go on a platform and express himself to his totality, that shows a major level of strength because my vulnerability will give someone who is less vulnerable strength. But the storm is almost over. The storm is almost over. We got people right now going through things in life, and they genuinely believe that they're the only one. And when you believe that you're the only one, you make yourself exiled from life. Listen, in anything in life, they say humans naturally need other humans in order to stay sane. And a lot of people are going crazy because they sit in the back of their mind by themselves in a lonely, dark space thinking that this is the way they're supposed to handle situations. One cannot fix themselves alone. We knew this since we were kids. They say it takes a village to raise a child. But the one thing we don't identify is it still takes a village to help create an adult. Y'all don't hear me. Damn. Y'all don't hear me. How many times have you heard someone say it takes a village to raise a child? But you never hear people say that it takes a village to help create an adult. This is the issue. The storms. You need mentors. You need people you can go to and allow you to be vulnerable. It takes maturity to be able to have certain metrics of conversations. When you have a conversation with a certain mentality, you're going to always have a poor result. It is not that they say, I can't tell people my stories because people judge me. No, you're telling the wrong people. You're telling the wrong people. Because it says a lot about someone who laughs at someone in their weakest state. It's like going to the country and comparing it to an inner city and asking which is more developed. It's common sense that the inner city will be more developed than a country, right? In the countryside, when you go like in the South, deep in the South, in the woods, and you have the inner city, what will be more developed? The inner city. And the inner city tends to show more. But a lot of us don't understand that our mindset is basically the allowance of to where we are. One cannot go anywhere else unless they accept that they need to relocate themselves. You think every day relocating your body to a place to give yourself a vacation. You need to give yourself a mental vacation. You need to reprogram your mind. You need to take your mind from this location and take it on vacation to another place so it can receive and learn new information. Wisdom comes with a price, huh? I'm going to say this with conviction. The storm is almost over. I've been through so many trials, tribulations, to the point where I started second-guessing myself. Insecure, wondering why is not things moving at my pace, the speed I wanted and how I wanted. This is what happens. You start second-guessing yourself, and then you know what you do? You go into a dark space, alone. Claustrophobic in a room of your mind alone with 4 walls. And each wall is something: depression, anxiety, stress, and aggravation. Every single wall you run into is some form of something. And then when you break that wall down, guess what's behind it? Another wall called trauma. You break down that other wall, guess what's behind it? Another wall called fear. A lot of us have these emotions, but yet still we hide these emotions because we believe that this is the catalyst for strength. There is someone right now going through trauma, aggravation, and stress, but yet still they're fearful of expressing themselves because the world will see them as weak. It takes a very strong person, as I say, with conviction to allow yourself to say, I need help. I need help. But you told that if you need help, that you're weak. I realized that my weakest point is not asking for help. That was my weakness. That was my weakness. I realized that my weakest point was asking for help. I was weak because if you told me that I need help, I'm gonna tell you I don't need nobody. And the problem with not needing anybody is because every human has strengths and weaknesses. And the real human that is the strongest is one who finds the people that basically complement their weaknesses. That is the strength. When a human can look for someone who complements their strengths, rather their weaknesses. You know how vulnerable you have to be to say, yo, I'm not that good at saving money, but I'm gonna look for somebody that's good at it? You know how strong you have to be to say, yo, I don't know how to read that well, but I'm gonna find somebody that can read better? There's nothing wrong with that. People laugh at Floyd Mayweather for not being the greatest reader, but yet and still made himself a multimillionaire. They laugh at him. But I bet you if you run up on Floyd Mayweather, he'll beat the hell out of you. You know why? Because that's his strength. He can't read, but he'll punch you up. Everyone don't have the same skills. And there's nothing wrong with that. We have strengths, we have weaknesses. But one thing you understand is when going through your storm, right? When going through your storm, there will be paradise at the end. We don't process it enough. We don't stay in the fights long enough to see if we can even win. Because when life hits you, what you do is you don't fight back. I grew up in a generation where it wasn't about if you could fight. It was about if you were willing to fight back. So I'm asking somebody on my live today, are you willing to fight life back? Are you going to continue to play the victim? Are you going to continue to blame the world? Are you going to keep crying about what didn't happen, about your daddy, your mother, your excuses? Because an excuse becomes a reality if one believes his excuse. As long as you give yourself an excuse, your mind will gravitate to the excuse. You will never believe that you have the ability to change self if one don't realize that there's something wrong with self. I keep blaming society for my issues. I keep blaming the world when I don't realize that I can not change the world, but I can change how I evolve, I move, and how I act in this world. You will never be able to change the world, but you can change how you view it, how you handle it, and how you navigate the world. Because I'm going to tell you something, the wisest man or woman is the woman or the man that can create a world within the world. Let me say that again. The wisest man or the woman is the one who can create a world within the world. There are people who do not see poverty because they don't see poverty as a bad thing. You know what they see? They see it as a struggle that they need to navigate to fix. Some people view their disadvantages as an advantage. Some people view their disadvantages as an advantage. Because I'm going to tell you something, the most successful people who stay successful are the ones who process the process long enough to enjoy it. If you do not go through the process long enough, you'll never know how to do anything. If you know the only way to get to the other side is to go through the storm, put your rain boots and walk through the storm. But we don't want to walk through the storm. We want the storm to pass over us. Understanding. Look at what's going on right now in Florida. They just got hit back to back with what, hurricanes? Back to back. But you know the sad part? We feel sorry for those people. We do. But you know what's amazing about a lot of those people? A lot of those people ain't gonna run. They're not gonna move. You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna put their life back together and rebuild it again. Because one thing about a hustler, if you're a hustler, I could put you on anywhere on God's green earth and you're gonna hustle. If I could, an unsuccessful person will blame the area they're in rather than blame that it's their mentality. Notice, a true hustler can go anywhere and still survive. The storm is almost over. The storm is almost over. I look back to all the things I've been through, and I used to complain, right? To the point where I would say my life, and I would make myself believe that I wasn't worthy of anything great. Just imagine telling yourself that every time you think you can, you can't because you tell yourself you aren't worthy. Anyone that's gotten anywhere has failed a multitude of times before they've gotten anywhere. Let me say that again. Anyone that's gotten anywhere has failed a multitude of times before they've gotten anywhere. You want to get somewhere without failing. Because failure is always on the road to success, but you want to skip the process of failing so you can learn what you did wrong, how I reacted, how did I behave. Imagine if you got fired from a job for being lazy and then you get another job and guess what you do? You be lazy. That means you never learned anything. If I got a job, I got fired for being lazy, I'm going to learn in the next job, if I don't want to be fired, I'm not going to be lazy. But you're going to blame your job. Your supervisor was hating on you. He was hating because of the fact that you're still in company hours being lazy. And the sad part is, it's a trickle-down effect. 9 out of 10 times, the corporate don't go to the employee. They go to the supervisors and the managers to correct the employees. That's how it goes. Your teacher don't like you, but you don't want to even study. Life is hard on you. But you don't realize that you're not even hard on yourself. I'm going to tell you something. I always say this statement. Hard is always hard for those who always want to do what's easy. Easy becomes easy for those who always want to do what's hard. Let me say that again. Hard will always remain hard for those who always wants to do what's easy. But easy becomes easier when a person does what's hard. They realize that how life is so much easier. A person that gets up early don't even feel it. A person that saves money don't even notice it. A person that invests they don't even see that they're doing it. It's natural instinct. It becomes your aura. It becomes your character. It becomes your premise of life. It becomes your natural action. But a lot of us don't want to change our natural actions. When you look at life, there is an art to reprogramming a mindset. And one won't understand that if the mind is not painting this new mentality on a blank canvas of life, the picture will never show. Damn. Let me say that again. The mind has to paint the picture on the blank canvas called life of what you envision yourself as, what you want to be, what you want to do. You have to paint this because we always talking about finding yourself, but we never talk about creating yourself. When you realize that in life, finding your comfort, finding your security, finding yourself as a man or a woman is very, very vital with becoming an adult. Finding your level of security. But when you look at life and you want success, you have to create it. You have to create the mentality. You have to create the economics. You have to create the results that you say you want. You have to behave as such. You cannot go to a nice neighborhood with a hood mentality and expect that you won't stand out for the wrong reasons. You cannot go to a bad environment and behave good and expect to change the environment. In most cases, people want to change the environments, but sometimes the environment will change you before you change the environment. Some of us have to relocate ourselves until you get to the point where you're comfortable with the new being that you're becoming. Because if you do not become comfortable with your new self, you're going to continue to navigate right back to your old locations. When you take a person and you make them uncomfortable, the moment they get too uncomfortable, they naturally run back what? To where they're comfortable. Look at most relationships these days. It's about codependency. It's about finding what accommodates the way I don't want to be anymore. I told a guy the other day, he said he want to get out the hood. I told him, you won't get out the hood. He said, why? I said, because you're comfortable in the hood. He said, why do you say that? I said, because every time I talk to you and I tell you your environment's bad, you tell me, no, it's not. It's not that bad anymore. Because I don't want to be in an environment no more where I got to say it's not that bad. Because not that bad means you're not going to be that successful. When you accept mediocrity or mediocre is the reasoning for why we don't get anywhere. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Listen to the level of mentality. I want to tell you a story. I was talking to a guy the other day, and he came to me, he said, I'm mad at my sister. So I said, for what? And watch this statement. He said, I'm tight with my sister. And I said, why? He said, because I feel like my sister is the reason I lost my car. And I said, your sister is the reason you lost your car? He said, yeah. I said, why is that? He said, think about it. I had my car off the road, no insurance, no registration for 8 months, right? He said, the car sat in the driveway. I said, the car sat in the driveway. He says, yes. So I said, so what happened? He says, my sister knew I didn't have registration or insurance. She asked me to give her a ride. And when I gave her the ride, guess what happened? I said, what? He said, I got pulled over and they impounded my car and I lost my car. I said, let me ask you a question. He said, what? I said, prior to them taking the car from you, did you drive that car without registration and insurance without her before she asked you to give her a ride somewhere? He said, yeah. So I said, let's stop this conversation right now. He said, what? I said, you're blaming your sister for the fact that you were negligent on your car insurance and your registrations for 8 months plus. Your sister's not the problem, my brother. You are the problem. See, when you sit back and have a conversation with a certain mentality will make a certain mentality uncomfortable. Because there are people who do not live in logic, they live in feeling world. They live in a world of feelings. Think about this. You in the feelings, your feelings is telling you that your sister's the problem. Why? Because you don't want to be accountable. Yes, Angelo, accountable. They don't want to be accountable. So I'm going to blame someone for my poor decisions, and then I'm not going to look at myself and say, wait, I made a poor decision, and now I'm dealing with the repercussions of making a poor decision. When you sit back and ask this question, the storm is almost over. I genuinely believe that God did not put us here on earth for us to die in poverty. Because there's a difference. A lot of people learn how to survive and they still haven't learned how to win. Most of us are still surviving. Surviving is a mentality. Winning is a different mentality. A lot of us are comfortable with surviving. We learn survival tactics. Just picture this statement. Imagine living in a world, right, where you're in a cave. And when you come out the cave, there's 1,000 dinosaurs, right? Watch this. That's how you see that. You're in a cave, there's 1,000 dinosaurs. And when you come out, every day, it's survival. To eat, to live another day. You have to survive, right? But any given day, what can happen? A dinosaur could kill you. And that's how a lot of us are with our finances. The dinosaurs is our bills and our responsibilities. But we believe that just because I can survive, that is the metric of winning. One must learn how to reprogram that ideology. That is a mentality for losers. One should not just continue to survive. The last generation before us survived. Now it's on us to take it to winning. But in order to win, one must create a new mentality. Because you're in that cave every day saying, I have to hunt, I have to survive, I have to kill, eat, and then every day wondering, when will your number be called? So I ask this question. The storm is almost over. The storm is almost over. But a lot of us are in the beginning process of our storm. Because you cannot rectify something you've done for years wrong overnight. We say that Rome wasn't built overnight, but yet still a lot of us want to recreate our lives overnight. You got to weather that storm. You can't rush the process. You have to trust the process. And along the process, you have to trust the process. And along the process, you have to trust the process. And along the process, you have to trust the process. Because if you avoid the process, you will never become greater than what you are today. 40, 50 years of avoiding the process, or believing that something magically is going to happen for you. This is the mentality of our culture now. There is no accountability. The people that waste their resources, but then cry broke. That's a mentality. The people that believe that if I wear something expensive, I'm rich. That's a mentality. The people that believe that my daddy wasn't there, so I'm not going to be there for my kids, that's a mentality. The people that do things around their kids that they shouldn't do, that's a mentality. Because while creating a child, you're creating trauma. And you don't realize that the trauma that you're creating is only going to pass on to the next generation. We blame our parents for decisions that they've made, but yet and still ultimately making the same decisions. Listen to this. You tell your mother that she had a child with a bum man, and then you're going to have a child with a bum man. You tell your father that your mother wasn't a great woman, but yet and still you out here entertaining women that aren't great women. So it's recreating the same culture. It's a culture. I'm going to tell you something. The most hoodest area in the world is not hood because of the housing. The most hoodest area in the world is not hood because of the land. The most hoodest area in the world right now is hood because of the people. It's a mentality. It's our mindset. When one can't identify that it's something wrong with one's mindset, one will tell itself that something is wrong with the environment. No, because fertilized sand and land is land. Land will always be land. What changes the land is who inhabits the land. Let me say that again. What will change the land is the ones who inhabit the land. Think about this. During the great quote-unquote migration, when people were speaking certain languages in certain places, I asked this, Dre, why do they speak certain languages? Because of the people that came to the land. If I took over Jamaica, more than likely they speak what? Broken English. If the Spain, right, went to Dominican Republic, what do they speak? Spanish. But if you go to the opposite side of the land, what do they speak? French. It's not the land, it's the people. And if we don't change our mentalities while weathering our storms, you're not going to see that it's the storm that took you over. Because believe you me, a lot of people look like they're losing their storms. They're losing against their storms. And why do I say losing? Because they're not willing to fight back. It's okay for life to hit you, but it's bad when you get comfortable being hit. Life will always hit you, but it's on not getting comfortable with being hit. Because everyone thinks they can fight until they get hit. Someone call in right now, 516-253-1150. Someone call in right now, 516-253-1150. Call in right now. Someone call in, let's talk about this. What storm are you currently going through? And what are you going to do about it? Right? I hear a lot of people tell me what they're going through. But the best thing about going through something is finding the solution to how to get out of what you're going through. We get comfortable. We get comfortable. Someone call in right now, 516-253-1150. One more time, 516-253-1150. I want to hear what storm you going through. I got a good friend of mine, just lost her mother. And She said her mother said to her, she was ready to go. I know my friend wasn't ready for her mother to go. But you know what it is? Her mother said, I realize that you will never enjoy your life having to worry about taking care of me. Look at how unselfish her mother was. Her mother said, I didn't want you to have to continue to take care of me, so I'm ready to go so you can live. Sometimes the selfishness of us, we want what we want, when we want it, how we want it, when we want it. We don't understand that the books of our life is being written because God is always the co-author of your life. You will always have a co-author. You will always have a co-author. Always. There's nothing you can do to change that. So I'm asking, what storms are you going through? I'll give you a storm that I'm going through. There's a particular woman I dated, and we have a child. I'm trying to figure out how to help heal her broken heart. Because in one breath, she says she's over me. In one breath, she says she don't want to be with me. But in the other breath, she's extremely controlling of the relationship I have with my child. So I'm asking this question. How can you heal someone's broken heart? Especially when you know that you've done wrong, right? You've done wrong. And that's the one thing I will be is accountable for my decisions. I wasn't the greatest person on earth. But the narrative is this. When you're dealing with someone who's broken or hurt, all they know how to do what is hurt someone else. The number is 516-253-1150. 516-253-1150. But again, I say this, I only knew how to hurt because I was hurt. An unhappy person can't make someone happy. A sick person can only make someone around them sick. A selfish person will only take. A lazy person will only be lazy. It's just what it is. So here's the narrative. I couldn't accept that I had issues. Call in right now, 516-253-1150, yes. But again, we can't identify what's wrong with us. So we go through life pretending as if there is nothing wrong with us. I've met some people who play hide and seek with their emotions better than anyone else. I've seen people magically act like they're better than what they are. Better than David Blaine. Magically make themselves think that they're better. But I'm gonna tell you something. You cannot heal anything unless you go through the process of healing. And I always say this, along the process of doing anything, you will see the ugliest version of anything. You will have to face the fact that you do the wrong things to self. It is hard to look in yourself in the mirror when you don't want to look in the mirror. Avoidance have become a natural reaction to failure. Avoidance have become a natural reaction to most people's failure. They avoid it. I'm not going to say I'm fat. I'm going to just say the gym don't work around my schedule. That's cap. Damn. I'm not going to say I'm fat. I'm going to say the gym just doesn't work around my schedule. I'm not going to say I'm lazy. I'm going to say I'm tired. Damn. I'm not going to say I chose bad women. I'm going to blame the women in the world. Damn. I'm not going to say that men, I'm going to say women going to say what? Men are trash. They're not going to say her picking of men is trash. Damn. We never going to hold ourselves accountable, right? And it becomes a pattern. And you keep this pattern going on for the rest of your life. Never changing anything about self, but believing that something will automatically change. And this is the insanity that we see today. Where people don't understand if you don't fix nothing major about your life, nothing major will happen in your life. But But again, we say that it's the world's problem. But it is not the world. It's your vantage point of how you view the world. If a person wakes up thinking that there's a shortcut to life, they're going to always do things that what? Try to give them a shortcut, ultimately starting back at the starting gate over and over and over. You ever see that drug dealer that sell drugs, go to jail, come home, 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 sell drugs, go to jail, come home? It's the pattern. And guess what they've done along that process? They've gotten older and older and older and older and older. And they continue to do the same process, thinking that something is magically going to change. Insanity. Insanity. Someone said, how am I supposed to know the man I choose was not the right guy for me? And now I'm going to say this, and don't get offensive. A lot of times, we ignore red flags, and then we complain about the red flags we ignored. 9 out of 10 times, anyone that was bad to me in life, they've shown how they behaved either A, with someone else before I got serious with them, or B, they showed things that I thought I could fix. I'm going to tell you something, sister. You are not a medical doctor. You are not here to be fixing people. That is not our job. Our job is to find someone who complements our mentality. The problem is we get so infatuated with the exterior that we don't see what's wrong with the interior. It's like buying a car. When you're looking at the body of it, it looks amazing. But the moment you turn that key, and this is the interior right now, we're in the interior, you turn the key of that car, you realize that you just bought a damn lemon. Damn. He bought a damn lemon. Let me say that. He bought a goddamn lemon. And that's what happens. You take a woman or a man, they meet someone. They go off their strength thinking that they can change someone. And then they date this person, complain about everything that they do, stay with the person, and then continue to complain. That's been the catalyst of relationships today. Caller, what's going on, caller? Caller. Hold on a second. What's going on, caller?
Man, ain't not much. You told me to go ahead and call in. I guess, expressing, what type of storm.
What you going through right now?
I'm calling in for the storm.
What you going through right now?
Man, being lost. I took on a lot of responsibilities before I even got the chance to know myself.
Okay.
From a kid, like having kids at a young age, getting married at a young age, and trying to go ahead and please everybody, and thinking I was doing the right thing before I even knew what I wanted to do, or what I wanted for myself, or who I was. And the marriage, she left me. I got no access to my kids like that because she, you know what I mean. And it's just like I can't get back those years back.
Let me ask you a question.
What's going on?
You come from a broken home?
Oh yeah.
Now I'm gonna go into why I asked you this question. I come from a broken home. And I thought that by getting married and forcing a relationship, because I didn't want to be the man that didn't raise my child. I forced myself to be in a household because it was the daddy issues that I had from the trauma of not having a father in my life. So I believe that I'm gonna step up and be the man my daddy wasn't. But I stepped up with the wrong teammate. Thinking I was doing the right thing, but in reality, sometimes in life, when you try to force things to be what they're not, you'll realize they were never meant to be. And one thing you have to accept right now is you didn't waste time. You learned from the time that you've given. Because sometimes with learning, you have to give. And by giving, that's how you learn. You gave time. Now you know what not to do. That's how life operates. Because again, if you didn't go through the process, you probably would still believe that you're supposed to be doing what you're doing now. And I think it's better to do something early than later. Because there are people that's making the decisions that you're making at your age today that you made years ago.
Understood.
So in life, never live with a regret, but live with the fact that you understood what you've gone through. Because every decision that you made was based on the mentality you had at that time. So you cannot fault yourself for something you didn't know. If I'm walking in the dark and I trip over a cord, I cannot be mad that I tripped over a cord. I did not know the cord was there. So again, what you do is you pick yourself up, you put your crown back on, King, and you decide that today I'm a new version of myself, and I'm not going to live with resentment or regrets. Because again, it takes a man to try to build a family, regardless of whatever may have happened. It takes a man to try to build a family. Because most of these men are running from trying to build any damn thing. So again, don't stress what you didn't do. Complain about what you're not doing now. My brother, I love you, my brother. And don't regret yourself. Never. Pick yourself up. Hold your head up high. And know that I made some decisions that I'm not proud of. But those decisions are what led me to who I am today. And I'm not going to make the same damn decisions. And now you can give your children guidance because of your testimony of what you've been through. And someone else you can help.
Understood.
Prevention is everything, my brother.
One love, man.
I appreciate you, my brother. Amazing brother. Amazing brother. But for him to be able to call in and be that vulnerable, it shows his metric of strength. Strong men. I love strong women too. But a lot of us been taught that if you do this, this is what's weak. We live, we learn. Someone said her man never argued and never cheated. So I asked this question. I'm going to show you something. There's a cousin I have, and I'm snitching. I don't care if she get mad. I love you. But I'm telling. She has a child's father, right? At the time, he was her boyfriend. He didn't take care of his first kid at all. And he kept making excuses. I kept telling her, peel that onion back a little bit, you'll cry. The moment you cut an onion, it makes you do what? Cry. So I said, cut that onion open. I said, I think he's lying. She said, what do you mean? I said, I think he's lying. I said, before you jump all into this situation, get to know who you're dealing with. I said, this man is telling you that he's not taking care of, he's showing you that he's not taking care of his kid. I said, fill it out, see what it is. Make sure you get your actual facts. She didn't listen. Head first into the relationship. Committed basically, like literally, the man started showing, he showed a lot of signs that he was not a great man. But she ignored it. Because I hate to say this, women are such nurturers that they believe that they can nurture someone to be something they're not. And then what they do is they complain about the man that they've chosen, putting every man in a box. Oh, men ain't this and men ain't that. No, the man you choose, ladies, aren't this and ain't that. You've chosen. Because it is still a choice. Because a lot of people don't feel comfortable enough being alone until they're comfortable enough to be in a great situation. Most people would jump into a situationship before they're comfortable enough to be alone. Let me say that again. You meet people today who are so uncomfortable with being alone that they force themselves to fit into a puzzle piece that's not for them. And then they spend years of their life complaining about something that was never fitting for them. God damn. That's the logic. That's the logic. She said we never argued and he cheated. Sometimes with cheating, you have to identify insecurities. A lot of insecure people cannot be in a secure situation. Insecure is the opposite of secure. Most insecure people are led by their feelings, right? What makes a person insecure? The way they feel, right? Think about it. What makes a person insecure is the way they feel. So an insecure person could never be secure in any situation. No matter what you do, the situation will never be comfortable enough unless that person can get past their insecurities. I remember this guy I was cool with. He used to take his girl's phone, her password. He used to search her phone. He used to pop up at her job because he was insecure to the point where he thought that if he did all of these things, they would make him secure. But I'm going to tell you something. They never made him secure. What they did was they made him crazy as hell because nothing will never be enough to an insecure person. There's nothing you can do to fix the insecurities of someone who's not identifying that they have issues and they need to work on self. Which one? Yes, I'm in the gym the other day, and me and my boy, we in the gym working out. I'm looking at a guy. He's like hovering over the woman. And I'm going to go on record and say this. A lot of women say, I want my man to give me a lot of attention. They say that. But too much attention can become very unattractive to a woman. This man is hovering over this woman. I'm going to tell you something, guys, and I want y'all to feel secure enough to hear this. It is a compliment when a man looks at your woman. Ladies, it is a compliment when a woman looks at your man. Because I'm going to tell you something. Most people aren't attracted to what most people aren't attracted to. We're in a world of follow the leader, leader, leader. Most people are following the leader. Because naturally, if women want this man, more women will naturally want this man. When more men want this woman, naturally, more men want this woman. That's the world we live in. So if people are attracted to your mate, but your mate still choose you, knowing that they can get other people, it says volumes about you. If you're doing a good job, you wouldn't be worried about being fired. Damn. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're doing a job good enough, you wouldn't be worried about being fired. Most people that are worried about getting fired at the jobs are the people who aren't doing good jobs. There's the ones that's always late. There's the ones that's always inconsistent. They're the ones that's always getting write-ups. They're the ones that the boss always complaining about. They're the ones that's always in something at the job, gossip, something. So you would never worry about losing your job if you were doing the right thing. So if I know I'm handling my job as a man and a woman can't see that, at that point, I'm not the problem, she's the problem. Because there's nothing I can do to make someone insecure secure. Because that's a level of security that you need to work on within self. But giving this woman his phone he's searching her phone and going through all of his personal stuff. I'm going to tell you something, guys. It's sick when one of your friends, men and women, your friend call you, tell you something personable, and you feel the need to go back and tell your mate. If I wanted your man, ladies, if I'm calling my friend, a girl, a female friend, or rather I call my homeboy, and I'm telling him something that I'm going through, if I wanted his girl to know what I was going through, I would have put us on a damn three-way. I called him to tell him about my life, not expecting you to pillow talk to your woman. And that's for you women too. You should not learn things about your friends and run back to your mate. There are certain things that should be left unsaid when it comes to dating. If you tell your woman right now that your homeboy cheats a lot, you know every time you go around and what she gonna think? You cheating too. If you tell your boyfriend that your homegirl cheats a lot, every time you go around her, he's gonna think you're cheating too. So therefore, you're creating insecurity by telling too much information. Because sometimes the quietest conversation is the loudest conversation. Sometimes what you don't say is what you actually say. Sometimes what you don't do is what you actually did. Damn. Y'all don't hear me? When weathering a storm, sometimes you have to practice isolation. In the process of isolation, one must isolate themselves to learn who they truly are. Isolate yourself long enough to create this new mentality that you want to be. It is hard to stay positive in a room full of negativity. Because once provoked, I don't care how positive you are, enough provoking will allow you to come out of character. Y'all don't hear me. Staying in the wrong settings will provoke anyone. to behave a certain way, right? But you'll say, nah, I'm going to be me. I'm going to do me. Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning how to dance in the goddamn rain. Goddamn. Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. But sometimes in life, you got to just dance in the goddamn rain. Goddamn. Make the most of your situation. Make the most of your situation. Surviving the storms of life. Accept the fact that you will face the storm in life. Accept that fact that it is impossible to not go through any storms in life. It is impossible to not go through any storms in life. Because I'm going to tell you something. I don't give a damn if you're a prize fighter. Even the best fighters have been taken to the end of the match and barely won on a decision. But the rounds are not over of life until you throw in the towel, till you quit, till you submit. Some of us have submitted before we've even tried. You ever met someone that say they can't do something they never even tried to do? I know my homegirl, she said that she can't rollerblade. I said, have you ever did it? She said, no. I said, how do you know? How do you know? How do you know what you can or cannot do if you don't even try it? How? You give up before the game even starts. You give up before the game even starts. First quarter tip-off, you already say, oh, we lost. Because they scored 1 point. Take responsibility for dealing with the storm and its consequences. Take responsibility for dealing with your storms and its consequences. Life will always have consequence. I told this kid the other day, you know why you should get out of the streets? He said, why? I said, because I know you're not accountable for your decisions. He said, why? I said, because I know you're going to snitch if something happens. He got mad as hell at me. I said, listen, I'm going to call it what it is. You're not built for the consequences of what you're doing. If you playing with 20-year sentences, right? You playing with guns, that's a 20-year sentence if you hurt somebody. You got to be willing to deal with that 20-year sentence. And the way he behaves, I don't think he could do 20 months. I don't think he could do 20 hours. I don't think he could do 20 days. Because I think that he's behaving like that because of his insecurities. We got to weather these storms, right? We got to weather these storms. Take action that is appropriate and timely. Take actions, right? Don't, listen, I'm going to tell y'all something. I always say this. Why would you wait till a storm to get a life jacket? I remember one time, me and my boy, we was in Florida, in Miami. We jet skiing. They told him to wait because he a bigger boy. I said, wait till I come back with the bigger life jacket and then you can go on the jet ski. He couldn't wait, right? Barely could swim. And I say, barely could swim. I put on my life jacket. I told him I'd wait for him. He couldn't wait. So you know what he did? He jumps on a jet ski while the guy gonna get the life jacket because his ego got in the way because somebody was teasing him about not being able to swim. So his aura, I had to prove my masculinity. I can do it. He jumps on a goddamn jet ski, shoots out, pew, hits a wave within about 2 minutes out, man overboard. Whole damn jet ski flips over. He goes underwater, bloosh. Struggling, almost died, almost drowned. We had to jump in and save this man, right? And I'm just looking at him like, ego and pride is the killer of kings and queens. Ego and pride is the killer of kings and queens. When you sit back and evaluate why some people fail, you'll watch their ego. If you sit back and evaluate why some people aren't winning, you'll see their ego. Ego will make you, it'll trick you out of your own spot that is warranted for you. Ego will trick you out of believing that you should be in a space that you should. Ego will make you make a poor decision when you know you're supposed to go left, you'll go right. Just because you want to prove somebody the direction is left. It's like being in a car with your woman, man, and your girl's been to this location before, and she tells you make the left, you go, no, it's a right. And then you make the right? And while you were going right, you start looking at yourself like, damn, it wasn't left. It wasn't left. But your ego and your pride, right? You know what it won't let you do? You won't look over, yo, my fault, I apologize, you was right. I'm gonna bust this U-turn, and I'm gonna go back. There are a lot of people going the wrong directions, and they've gotten directions from the right people, but yet still they continue to go down the wrong direction because they don't want to accept the directions from those people. You won't even apologize to yourself. I tell people all the time, there's someone who owes themselves an apology. They need to look at themselves and say, sorry. I think there are people who are more than what they're giving themselves, who deserve more than what they're doing for themselves, who are every bit of more than what they've allowed themselves to accept. A lot of us are taking the scraps, and we believe just because we can eat that we're eating good. I told you before, there's a difference between surviving and winning. A lot of us have accepted surviving as a way of life, right? You have to acknowledge your process. Acknowledge your process. Acknowledge it. I'm gonna have to go through so I can enjoy. Think about the narrative. In most cases, people save money before they can go on a vacation. You cannot go on a vacation and come back home and work. You're supposed to save the money and then go on a vacation. But we want to do things backwards. So when you use something called your credit card, what happens is you end up paying more for the trip, right? Because of the fact that you didn't want to wait to go through the process first to enjoy the trip. Find a safe place and have courage. I do a lot of one-on-one consulting, and I love it because you get to help people find that level of security. The saddest thing I see in the storms in a lot of people's lives are still looking for acceptance from people who haven't accepted themselves. Still going down the wrong roads of life, knowing that it is a dead end. I don't give a damn at how long the road is. At the end of the day, you know at the end of that road, there will be a dead end. And the sad part is, if coming to this dead end, you're sitting at the dead end in your car waiting for them to build a goddamn road. Damn. You're sitting at a dead end in your car waiting for them to build you a goddamn road before you continue to move on. And a lot of people have accepted this fate. As I told you, life is an acceptance. If you don't accept yourself, who will? If you don't accept the fact that you have to change, who will? When you don't want to change, you'll see that life won't change for you. When accepting self, you have to identify issues with self. If you can't have those hard conversations with yourself, no one else will. Because you'll find more people who will talk to you and act like they supporting you, but as soon as you turn your back, they will laugh at you for not doing the right things. It's the storms. It's the storms in life. We got to embrace. I tell myself all the time, life is going to have to kill me before I give up on myself. Life is gonna have to literally kill me before I give up on myself. Because if I don't believe in me, who will? Sometimes with confidence, people mistake you with arrogance. But the people that will mistake your confidence with arrogance are the people that lack confidence. Let me say that again. People that lack confidence will mistake your confidence with arrogance because they haven't reached there. When you go into a room full of confident people, you'll realize that you guys all speak the same damn language. But if you go into a room with unconfident people, you'll realize that you all speak the same damn language too. So I'm telling anyone on my live today, weather your storm. Trust the process. Don't rush the process. Enjoy it. Embrace that everything starts, ends, and begins with self. No one can fix you no more than you're willing to fix yourself. With faith, nothing is impossible. The word itself, impossible, says that I'm possible. I want someone on my live today to tell me that I'm possible. Someone tell me I'm possible. I'm gonna wait till someone tell me that they're possible. I'm possible. I'm possible. Angelo said I'm possible. Look at that 2-word. I'm possible. Says impossible. When you look at that word, I'm possible, every day you got to tell yourself that I'm possible. Angel said I'm possible. The truth of the matter is, a boat can't set sail against the current. It has to go with the current. So sometimes in life, when going through your process, you have to accept that there will be current. The waves that come in your life to actually help you speed up your process will come with a lot of bumps and bruises, but you gotta weather it. Because without going through a bumpy road, one will never know how good a good road feels like. If you don't accept the fact that your storm was created for you personally, and stop taking life personal, because you have to go through something so you can learn how to enjoy it. Because love feels better when you've been hurt. Money feels better when you've been broke. Trust feels better when you've been hurt before. Everything in life feels so much better when you've been through the opposite. So today, I suggest you weather your storm and embrace the fact that everything begins with you. Till next time, guys. Don't let that go over your head.